Edgar Allan Poe once said, "I was never really insane except upon occasions when my heart was touched." Well, today, we're doing some touching. Well, here it is. Tomato sauce. I'm just kidding. I'm going to show you how to make it. Here are your ingredients. And to be honest, you really don't need much. All I have here is some basil, some garlic, some red pepper flakes, some canned tomatoes, tomato paste, and of course, salt. You probably noticed I have two types of garlic, fresh garlic, as well as this fresh garlic paste that I procured from Walmart. For today's purposes though, I'm going to go ahead and use fresh garlic. Go ahead and clip the tip and smash. Now, the technique I use for peeling the garlic is just smashing the cloves and then peeling them out. If you want whole, nice cloves of garlic, this method's probably not for you. But since I'm going to be cutting out some nice garlic chips, I don't really care. Once your garlic's peeled, go ahead and start chopping. For this recipe, I like the rough cut chips. We're going to blend the sauce at the end anyway, so there's no need to pulverize them in this step. Now with the basil for this step, examine your bunch for the little weak, wilty ones around the edge. They're still packed with flavor, and only the strong survive in this world anyway. Once you have about 4 or 5 full stems, we're going to go ahead and put those to the side. So sweet. I wanted to revisit this because it's important. This stuff is actually perfectly good. If you need garlic and don't feel like peeling all that garlic, just use it. I promise it'll be okay. So now what I'm doing is essentially making a little oil tea. Taking my weak basil and my chopped garlic and just steeping it in some olive oil. It's really important that this stays on low heat. Give her a little bit of a swirl. Make sure all your basil and garlic has been coated in oil, and then we're just going to let it sit. If you see it start to simmer, take it off the heat immediately. At this point, you can also add your crushed red pepper. I'm using a Lapo pepper because they're a little bit more effervescent, but still maintain some of that nice spice. This has been on for about 20 minutes, and this is exactly what we're after. A highly concentrated infused olive oil. The reason I left these basil stems whole was exactly for this reason. They're now easy to pluck out, which is what we're going to do. Now here's a step I see a lot of people get wrong. The best possible way to extract flavor from tomato paste is to cook it on high heat. Not in liquid, but in oil. So now we're going to crank it up, add our tomato paste, and keep it moving. As you can see, the tomato paste is starting to really nicely incorporate into that oil. Taking the time to get these initial steps right is going to make all the difference in your final result. There's plenty of debate out there between fresh tomatoes and canned tomatoes for your sauce. let me tell you where I stand. Canned tomatoes are absolutely going to give you a more consistent end result. However, if fresh tomatoes are in season and I have access to a wide variety of plump, juicy tomatoes, I'm probably going to use them for sauce. Tomatoes that are a little bit more fleshy tend to be better for sauce, whereas tomatoes that are juicy and sweet tend to be better eaten with just a little bit of salt on top. Or however you prefer. But the point being, canned tomatoes generally give you better sauce because of that level of consistency. Not only that, but tomatoes aren't in season all year long. So alas, we arrive at the coveted canned. Towards the end of summer, I will probably make a video on showing you how to can your own tomatoes. I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. Now we cover with a little bit of room for moisture to escape and let that baby simmer for hours. 2 to 3 hours to be exact. Now I'm using a stick blender here, but feel free to use a normal blender or even a potato masher. The goal here is just to break up the chunks. That's it. You're releasing the flavors when you do that. You probably noticed that I haven't used any salt at this point. There's a reason for that. As you cook, particularly things like sauces and stocks, really anything that's liquid, heat makes water evaporate. Which means, if you season whatever you're cooking too early and enough water evaporates, you are going to amplify the seasoning by a lot. Wait until the end to season. I beg you. If you've made it this far, you probably want to see the final result and the application of the sauce we just made. My vessel of choice? Rigatoni, of course. Now, a lot of people say to add some pasta water to your sauce to thicken it up. I'm going to do this a bit backwards. I'm putting some of my sauce into the pasta water. Why, you ask? Because now those flavors will actually be cooked into the pasta. Please try this method. If you do, let me know how it worked out for you in the comments. Now that our pasta is cooked, I'm giving it a little bit of time for that extra water to evaporate. The consistency you're looking for is that dry, sticky pasta that's fully cooked. This way, when you pour the sauce in, it's going to stick all over it. And there you have it. The last tomato sauce you'll ever need. And with that, I leave you with another quote from the great Poe. There is no exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the proportion. I want to thank you sincerely for watching this installment of Master of None. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your friends.